What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about MicroStrategy today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. So here we are, finally breaking out of this range, right? Finally seeing something that's at least productive one way or another, right? Whether it's to the upside or the downside, it's at least making progress to some kind of direction. We did move down about 5.6% so far today. Yeah, how much did Bitcoin move down? BTC USD. What did Bitcoin do on the daily yesterday? 5%. I'm kind of surprised MicroStrategy didn't drop more, but maybe that's a good thing, not a bad thing. You're at this area where you found support before. You've essentially fully filled this gap now. I'm not saying you have to find support here, and I don't think you do, but it's possible. It's a possibility to consider, certainly. I do think Bitcoin continues to drop, therefore I think MicroStrategy has a little bit lower to go. If we take a low here to a high there, the expectation would be, at a minimum, that you see prices at about $259 to $230, somewhere in that range. And that kind of makes sense too, right? From a 1272 perspective, that right there, if I can get it, that's kind of at the resistance point of this pivot right there. The 1618, the golden ratio, it's right at the support line of this kind of last moment pivot before you took off and saw these all-time high areas here. So yeah, going to 260, 230, you're at 282 now. I suspect you achieve that probably by the end of this week. That's my assumption. The end of this week is on Friday, which is also the end of the month. So by the end of the week, by the end of the month, somewhere in that zone, maybe tomorrow you're in that zone. And then the next 2 days you come back up. I don't know. But between now and the next 4 days, I'm expecting this zone. You are fresh on the daily RSI, fresh in the oversold zone. If you guys remember how we interact with the oversold and overbought areas, it's not once you get oversold that it's time to buy, right? It's generally not how it works. In fact, if we sold here as soon as we got overbought, look at how bad of an idea that was. Look at where you would have sold. You would have sold at literally, you would have missed the whole move, right? As soon as we got overbought. We just got oversold. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to see this equivalent to the downside. I don't think so. But getting oversold is not an indication that it's time to turn around. Sure, we're at an area where we found support at before. We filled the gap. I get it, all these things, but it's possible we could find support here. But most of the time, once you get oversold, you see lower prices continue. And if we were to continue from here, 260 to 230 is what makes the most sense to me. It really does, right? If we look at this, let's just see the last time you were oversold even. I mean, to be fair, you got a little oversold here, and as soon as you did, you bounced a little bit, but you did go lower still, right? Here, once you got oversold, you did not get oversold there. You got oversold right here on this day, and you did go lower the next day, technically, right? But pretty close to ending it, to be completely fair. Just because you ended moving down did not mean that you moved up immediately, though I suppose you kind of did. You more moved sideways and then turned the beat around, right? Getting oversold here. Again, the first day you were oversold was this day here, 9% drop, and you followed through the next day. What's kind of nice about MicroStrategy here, it seems as though once you do get oversold, you're very near your lows, at least from a time perspective, maybe not on a price perspective, but it's kind of interesting, kind of nice. Here you got oversold, right? Bounced, you still went lower inevitably, but I think I've made my point, right? Let's continue here. So we're at 282, just getting oversold. Likely you do go lower. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame, see if that agrees. 1 hour time frame, yes. Rejecting the oversold zone, man, that's aggressive. You're going to see an aggressive move tomorrow. I don't doubt it at all, which could imply Bitcoin might move down as well, maybe over the night, maybe over the next 12 hours or so, or maybe sometime during the stock day. But yeah, it looks like you want to go lower, to say the least, for sure, right? I don't know what else to talk about. I think we've said everything, really, right? We can talk about the higher prospects. Let me see if I can make sense out of it from another area, just in case we're missing something. Low to high here, getting below the 382. Yeah, 235. I don't think you go to 193, though. To be completely fair, whenever you do find support at the 382 and you go to the 236 and you come down, oftentimes you go down to your golden ratio. Backtesting a prior area of resistance for support after breaking through it, that's not completely uncommon either. I mean, that's what you did here. When you broke through your prior resistance, you backtested it for support. I don't know. I don't think you do that here, but it's just a possibility to consider. $193 could be on the table. I think 235 holds. I think 260 somewhere around there holds. Weekly RSI. You're at an area that you found support at before, so you're very near the end of this move down. You're very near it, both in time and in price. It's just I think you have a little bit more to go. Okay, let's look at this. Prepare yourselves. It's going to blind your retinas. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for myself, man, but especially you. Wow. I just got a few shades brighter. So this is the open interest total expiry, right? These are all the call options and put options that are open. The reds are puts, the greens are calls. It gives you the put to call ratio. We want the put to call ratio to be above a 1 or at least at a 1, but generally above it. If it's below a 1, if it's at like a 0.3, that's not necessarily a good thing. If there's more calls open and less puts open, if the market is expecting that we're going to move up, generally we move down. When the market expects that we're going to move down, generally we move up. This week, on this expiry for the 28th of February, the put to call ratio is about a 0.53. So we are absolutely boned. Anybody who has calls open for the 28th to expire, you're probably boned, right? And that's just how it happens sometimes. A lot of these will probably roll over into next week where we have a very good put to call ratio, and maybe we start to grow as of next week. But again, I assume a lot of this will probably grow. We'll roll over. We'll have a lot more. It says that there's only 24,000 calls, 46,000 puts. But next week, once this week closes, that'll start to go up a little bit more. As this week progresses, that'll start to go up a little bit more as well. Though most people will probably put it at the end of March, one of these two expiries here. That would be my assumption. But yeah, it looks like we need to clean out a lot of calls, you guys. We need to clean out a lot of calls. People are not capitulated yet. They're underwater, but after this week, whenever everything expires, I think that'll open up a lot of doors to go to the upside once we're done shaking people out here. So I think we've got a little bit more to go to the downside and then up. And when we do go up, my friends, I don't want to sound... I don't know how this is going to sound. Let me just say it like this first, okay? From a high to a low, you went to your 2272, okay? You might pull all the way back down to your 1272. That's actually kind of common to do. It's fairly common to hit the 2272 and find support at the 1618, which I thought we were going to do. That's why I was excited all the way back here at the end of December, but nope, we didn't. We went below, whatever. But 240, 265, I love seeing that kind of congruence, whatever. Imagine here, we're at the high, and I do this thing that I do sometimes every now and then, and I get it wrong, and I say that this is our low, right? It's on this week here. I'm like, that's our low. We're going to move up. The target is at 221 to 252 for the 1272 to the 1618. But then we move lower. Notice how the targets move up. It's now 240 to 305. What I'm trying to say here is that it's not necessarily a bad thing to move lower. It only increases our target area. The lower we go, the higher we might go, in other words. And that's why I got a little tied up there, a little tongue-tied before I started explaining this, because it's not exactly like that. I'm not trying to say that, but I do expect that when we break out of this, just like this last phase, how we saw the 2272, I would expect that we at least would get above our 1618. And I don't know how low we go. Maybe it's to 260. Let's just say it's at 260, the minimum target that we're expecting to hit, 264, whatever. Your 1618 would be at 846. I think that we will go above there. What's above there? The 1886 to the 200 area. That's at $1,000 to $1,100. If, heaven forbid, we do the same exact thing we did last time, we go all the way up to our 2272 and just above it, that's at $1,300, guys. And $1,300, while yes, guys, I have been incorrect about this range a lot. I thought that we were going to break out back here. I thought we were going to break out every damn week that it happened. I really, really did. And all we did was just move sideways. Calling for $1,000 by the end of January, calling for $1,000 by the end of February. And as this consolidation continued, those targets only went higher, right? It only now, as we've developed more in this consolidation phase, I've only gotten more confident of calling for this $1,300 target area. And the implication that we could go lower, and seeing the fact that we hit the 2272 on this last interaction, it only validates that more. I very much believe if people had a hard time wrapping their heads around it at $1,000, $900, you thought I was crazy there, and it feels like you've only been validated if you thought I was crazy. Just you wait, man. Just you wait. Probably going to happen in March, if not mid-April. We will see targets not just above 1,000, maybe not even just at 1,300, but above there. The longer we consolidate, the deeper it is without giving any kind of slip like this where we see a lot of volume come in, the more likely of a chance we have, like this, nice and tight, the more likely of a chance we have of seeing those deeper extensions being achieved, which I really do think will come in around $1,300 to $1,500. So even though we're going lower now, by the end of March, by the beginning of March, man, we're going to be on our way to these higher targets. I'm assuming it'll be April that were at these 1300 or higher targets, right? Because we haven't had the breakout, right? But it will happen, and it'll likely happen probably in the beginning of March. And I don't think that by the end of March we'll complete this move. I think that it will be probably the beginning of April, middle of April, maybe even the end of April. But however long it takes, man, I don't care. If I called for the price to go here and be here by the end of by the middle of March or end of February, right? And I definitely did at one point, and now it goes here, right? I was wrong, but at the end of the day, when we're up here, nobody's going to care. It's not a big deal, right? All the people talking smack down here, they're going to go away. They're going to find another place to talk crap to because they can't talk crap about it anymore. It did the thing, and it's going to do the thing. It's going to rip. But for now, all you little crap talkers out there, get your potty mouths out of the way. Get them while they're hot, man. I want to see some roasted comments in the comments section, please. And everybody better be nice to the haters, damn it. We need the haters. They're good. They're good for engagement and interaction, and sometimes they even tell funny jokes, right? So don't be mean to them. I appreciate you having my back, but haters are, I think they're a mark of success. So the more haters, the better. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.